Hello, everybody, and welcome to Out Comes the Sun podcast, radio show, whatever you want it to be. That is what it will be for you with my amazing co-host and best friend, Melissa Yamaguchi. It's been a while. It's been a
Hey,
while. We actually kind of took a little bit of a break because we were both so busy. You were traveling, I was traveling, a lot going on in our lives. Crazy. I
well,
mean,
I'm telling you, a hiatus is needed every once in a while, but I've seen you more in person than I have on Zoom. So I kind of forgot I had kind of introduced myself to you there for a minute.
exactly. Which has been nice, actually, seeing somebody in person. Let's just talk about that. The fact that, connection,
Indeed.
like seeing human.
Absolutely.
I've seen my grandchild a lot lately,
Gosh.
which has been amazing. So just so you know, everyone, she calls me Yaya because I am sure that deep down in my roots, I'm Greek.
Hey, I've already got cases of Windex coming to your house.
Exactly. Big fat Greek wedding. Clean it up. Yeah, and Bobby is called Boom Boom. So that's been an exciting summer event because that's like all I seem to really want to talk about.
Hey,
Anybody,
Boom Boom's just a modernized version of Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
exactly, which, as you know, we both think that that's who Bobby is at the
He
end
should
of
be
the
Bam
day.
Bam.
He should be. He should be. Anyway, today I think we should talk about well, we were talking about it this morning, so we should talk about it because it is so relevant to all of our lives because we can't escape it. But there are many people that think it's a concept, the concept of time. I mean, it's a reality, but is it a reality? Is
Right.
it something that we conjure up as a cultural group? That oftentimes in spirituality, they talk about time is like time is just something we made up, right? Which is
Well, I have a brother. I have a brother who can't hear. And he's convinced that since hearing man made up time, that's why hearing people are so stressed out. Because my brother does not run by this thing called time. He moves at his own pace, which can be maddening when you have to be somewhere. But Corey has zero tension in his shoulders. He's never had a headache. He's in his 60s. He's never been, he never had headaches or this process of stress of time. And when he does have to face these measures of time that we have,
yeah,
then he gets very flustered and he's like, why pressure? Why? Like he doesn't get it. But we know that back to the sundial, it was designed to help us navigate and take full advantage of the sun's presence for our crops and our hunting and survival. So, but we've taken it to a whole new level. I was speaking earlier, I told you to our guest today about this concept of time
mhm.
because Billy, my husband, feels like time is just moving so quickly. It's running through his fingers. He's like, man, things are moving so quickly. And I don't feel that way. Hand to heart, I don't feel that way. I don't feel as though, oh my gosh, my kids are in their 20s. Where'd the time go? I can tell you exactly where it went. If you'd like to sit down and have a cup of tea, I can tell you exactly what was going on in almost every single phase of their life from 8, 9, 2 months old, 14, because I think because I had suffered through so many miscarriages, I made a promise to myself and to my future children, were I ever lucky enough to have them, that I would never take for granted this thing, the time I had with them, this measure of space that I had with them. So that when they turned 18, you know me, Mariel, I still bawl like a baby when they go to the airport now at this age, but I held on to it as long as I could. And I find myself doing it now with my parents. You know,
Yeah.
I'm in that sandwich generation, so I do it now with my parents.
That's very interesting because what you're saying, I completely concur with because I have two daughters that are older than your kids, but similarly, I can tell you about each progression of their life and each like moment with them.
Yep.
Though I was a much younger mother, and I think I was I think I was in the turmoil of trying to figure out who I was when they were younger. So I
Yeah.
don't think I was as present. I think time is, you are a slave to time when you don't live in the present moment. But when you're living
Right.
in the present moment, I think that time is just what it is.
You're the master of time.
And yeah, you're just
Yeah.
moving through the day wherever it takes you because you are here, right? But when you are thinking about the past, or you're, striving, working towards the future, it becomes, because, for instance, like I think of Luce, who's my granddaughter, and I think of her, last year and a half of life. I know it's not much time, but it's a very clear distinction. It doesn't seem like it went too fast. It just, because when I'm with her, she's very much like one-on-one. I see her, she sees me. It's cool. But when I think about work, and when I think about what Bobby's doing and the stress of life, and he has to be on time, I have to help. I do similar things that you do with Bobby, right?
Yeah.
Or Billy. I prepare things so that he can leave the house
Yep.
and get there on time. But the stress of time, the stress of having to be on time, and the stress of work, when work becomes the future, you're not really present. And that's when it seems like at the end of a week, it was like, holy crap, we're at the beginning of September. And I feel like we just began June, right? So, but there's places where you're not present. And then there's places where your stress and time constricts you.
I am very happy. This has nothing to do with anything you said, and I promise I wasn't counting your cavities. I listened to every word. But I am so happy that September started on a Sunday. I don't know why. It just feels like it makes the calendar clean. And I'm just OCD enough that I need that. When it starts on a Wednesday, I'm like, well, look at that. Look at the whole week.
It is kind of nice. I
I
agree.
like it.
I agree with you. That's funny. I agree with you. I was also reading, I think I went down some woo-woo rabbit hole, that there are actually 13 months, and that we've been lied to, that there are not, we've
Gosh,
been
I'd like to
lied
have,
to
I'd
with
love to have an
this
extra month.
12 month. I know it would be, well, it would make
I
it
don't know what I do,
28
but I,
days. It would make it 28 days per month, apparently, except for like, there's one day that is like, I don't know, like a loss. I don't know if it's a lost day or whatever, but
it's all perception, right?
I think it would be interesting.
But we could have 6 months, 60 days long each. It's all
Yeah,
perception.
that's true.
It's
That's
all perception.
actually true. But it is interesting how numbers, energy, and all of it shifts dependent upon the time of the month, how many days of a month, when it start. I mean, with your
Yeah,
astrology and with your energy work, it changes each year because
that's
it
exactly
must
right.
revolve around the actual amount of days and
Became
splitting
a
that up.
marker, right? It became a
Yeah,
mark. When I know what year, month, day, and hour you're born, and to the minute, it's a marker in time for me so that I can say, oh, well, the vibrations of the earth were moving like this. So this tells me how you vibrate. But it's just, it's like a spinning wheel, and you stick your finger in and stop it for a minute and go, oh, red. And then it keeps moving. It's just a marker in time. It's all I'm doing.
yeah,
I'm just grabbing the mark.
yeah. I just find it fascinating. The more we get into energy and thinking about energy, and because Bobby and I are doing this wellness facility, which you know a tremendous amount about because you're a part of it. And we don't know what we're going to call it, but it really is going to be have a lot to do with energy, a lot to do with the seven doctors that we talk about, because we've got his chamber, the stratosphere ATC, which is pressurizing you at different altitudes. But what that's doing to you energetically, we don't
Yeah.
even we don't even know what that is. And yet, when you go in it, you come out and you're like, wait, something just happened to me. And I can't even describe it because it's not of a world that I know about, because it kind of puts you in this, it gives you an avatar effect. You come out different, you come out clear. It's very exciting
Well,
to
you know what I think it is? I feel like I just got put through with a knife sharpener. Like,
yeah,
come out and I'm like, whoa, I
yeah,
am sharp. I feel like
yeah,
I can think fast.
yeah.
I feel like Lindsay Wagner and Bionic Woman. Like I can like do things. I think and I respond quickly. I feel like I've taken that NAD stuff and it's made my brain
Yeah.
click into
Well,
high gear.
I want to explain to our audience before our guest is coming in right now, but before she comes in, so Bobby and I created this chamber called the Stratosphere. He created it, I didn't, but I supported him. And it pressurizes you at different altitudes, taking you up and down in altitude, expanding and contracting every cell in your body. So that's why, and after we speak with our amazing guest, Cortney Sides, we will talk more about this because it's kind of exciting. But Cortney, our amazing guest, is here. So Cortney, welcome to our podcast, to Outcomes.
Hi, ladies. Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me. I'm so
Oh my
excited.
gosh.
Oh my gosh, is right. We're both so excited. And I was so excited by what she told me about her reading this morning. And of course, I'm not going to lie, I like the fact that I was brought up. Just going to say.
Yes.
That we spent many lifetimes together. Anyway, let me tell our audience who you are, and you know, we'll have you do a little intro for yourself for our social media, but I want our audience to understand that. So Cortney Kane Sides, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. She is a medium and a healer and a painter, an artist, an amazing human being, and also just so, and I mean this as a complete compliment, so normal. Like you don't, like, you know, when I heard our friend Olivia Smith said, "Oh, you've got to meet with this girl, Cortney. She's amazing. She's a medium," and I went, "Okay." All
Yeah.
right. And I think that's very reassuring because it also makes us realize that in this world of and we were just talking about energy, in this world that we live in, which is unique and wonderful, and we're discovering more and more about it. But I think that for those of us who are not in tune with our psychic abilities, or you know, or didn't have some extreme thing happen to us that opened up our third eye, or did whatever, it's nice to know that that can happen with, you know, with somebody who is quote unquote normal. And I'm sure you're not normal at all, but I'm sure I'm not normal either.
Well, I tell, I mean, most of my clients know that I am a skeptic. I think most people are full of it until you prove me otherwise. And I was also raised Southern Baptist from Oklahoma, like you, Melissa.
Right.
But if you'd have told me back then that I would be doing this work, I would have thought you were crazy. And, you know, I've very often called myself the reluctant psychic because it's not necessarily, those words aren't words that usually you would be walking around. I hate to say proud of, but it was something where even today there are many, I kind of am aware of the company that I'm around. When somebody says, "What do you do?" I'm either like, if I don't even want to get into it, I'll be like, "Well, I'm an energetic artist," or, I see clients, I just help them. It just depends on
Yeah.
how I explain my work, because you're correct. It comes with a certain connotation of the crystal ball and, all of those different things. And I myself in my everyday life am pretty darn normal. Yeah.
Right. Well, you're in Oklahoma after all.
Hey. Listen, when I'm on stage, I always tell the audience how my family and friends from Oklahoma used to say, "Girl, why in the world are you talking about that feng shui stuff? I just don't. Where did you learn about that?"
Did you know that? Okay, so I'm from here. I lived in Phoenix for 10 years. The big ownership of the awakening happened in the West. And then when I moved back here, it was probably about 11 years ago. I'm 47 today. I honestly didn't think that I'd be doing this work here. I thought I would just keep my international or national clients. And I didn't really believe that I'd do a lot here in Oklahoma. And do you know that my local clientele is so much larger than it ever was in
I
Phoenix?
love it.
And
I love it, man.
they're awake. They're awake. Let me tell you.
Oh
Oh
my
Lord.
God.
Oh Lord. I heard there were some earthquakes
Don't
in
think
Oklahoma.
that I didn't catch that it's your birthday today. So happy birthday. That's
Who's,
amazing. It's your
whose
birthday.
birthday? Whose? Mine?
It's your
She
birthday.
meant, she meant I'm 47 today as we speak.
Oh,
I'm in
well,
today as we speak. That's correct. Thank you. Yes, not yet. January. I'm an Aquarius.
oh, that's right.
And
Hello.
what's the day? What's the day? January what?
125. 125.
Oh, my husband's.
Yeah, let's do her energy.
Yes.
I know you're set 1977, right?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so I think you're the year of the dragon. I think it
I
kicked
am. I am.
you back from snake. Yeah. So dragon ox. That's why you're willing to work so hard. Let me
Okay.
add you, let me do a quick ad. Carry on amongst
Take
yourself.
care on your conversation. Okay.
Excited.
Well, I would like to know if it was at all scary for you to have like visions or be able to connect to the history of a place or a person when you know when
Well,
it
and
first.
you've had a session, so you understand the, depth of the information that comes through. And as a child, I could definitely walk into a room, to an old home, to a place and feel the history. That's exactly what I could kind of tune into. But just like I was tuning into the history of those locations, when I met a person, it was the same. And what's really interesting is at that time, I had no idea that other people weren't aware that they could do the same. So that's why I wasn't walking around saying, well, can you do this? Can you do this? And a very easy way of explaining that is, do you walk around asking people, can you hear? Can you smell? Can
Yeah,
you
right.
assume everybody else can? And so once I realized that some of those things, maybe we don't say out loud. And I don't even remember what age I was when that started. I think what's interesting is, on a soul level, I think that it's a small creep in that we start to hide those gifts and abilities, right? But it wasn't until my mother passed. I was 15 years old, and she came to me in a dream, and she came in, and I'm sure many of you have had that exact dream where they come to you and they're better, they're okay. And I remember feeling like, what in the world, Mom, you're gone. And she said, I'm okay. And she rose her arms up, she hugged me, and I woke up and I was full. And I told my crazy Aunt Sharon and said, I had this dream. And she said, Cortney, I don't think that you had a dream. She said, I think your mother really came to you. And I thought, well, you're crazy, but okay. And so I started writing down every experience I ever had, because I am a skeptic. I like proof, I like facts. And I did that throughout my life until I was really in my mid-20s. And the paranormal experiences followed me through every home, through every, dark dream, all of those things. But also, what I realized in my 20s is that the more I drank, the more I partied, and the more those negative, scary, darker things were happening. And so once I realized that really us taking accountability for our emotional healing, for the healing in our life, for all of that, our well-being in general, helps our spirit. And that really, to me, dictates if we're connecting to a lower grade energy or a higher frequency of energy, which again is why I love the chambers. I love what you guys are working with.
Well, that's what I love that. I love that you said that, because I mean, Melissa and I talk about this all the time. We are a holistic being, which means it's body, mind, and spirit. It's, like it's a trifecta of these very important pieces of our being. Anyway, Melissa, I think you have information for us.
Yeah, you are the year of the dragon, month of the ox, day of the horse.
Month
So
of the ox.
a month of the ox.
Month
So
of the
my husband's a month of the ox. What that means, each one of the segments of your life just kind of give me an idea of how you navigate. The year is your social energy. That's the dragon, kind of comes swooping in. You're a great protector of the people you love. You also can get your knickers in a twist if you feel like your efforts have been disrespected without cause. It's like, what do you mean? This is ridiculous. Your work energy is ox, so you'll put your nose to the grindstone and keep going, but you won't do something you don't like. Like you love it, it's, you're running straight forward. You're a hard worker. But your core is horse, and that's who you really are. And there's a lot of horses in my life, physically and energetically. And my son is horse. And the thing that people misunderstand about horses is they think they're not paying attention when they're fully paying attention. Because you can do more than one thing. And someone says, you're not listening to me. You're blowing me off. You're being too aloof. And you're like, I caught everything you said. I promise you. I'm right here with you. You don't need to, put your chin on the ledge and zone in. You are capable of bringing it in. But you can get overstimulated. So the blinders need to come on. But it's interesting because this is your year of the dragon.
Yay.
And next year is the year of the snake. So you're picked up again. Next year's even better for you. It's a strong year for you next year.
Wow.
But yeah, it's interesting because when Mariel and I work we talk about energy and kind of the vetting process that we do with understanding energy is really, like Mariel was talking about the different components of that make you. This is just about energy all around us. And how do we navigate? There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong person energetically. It's just learning how to move with them, unless you're going to lock your legs and not move with them. But there's, we can work with any energy. It's just understanding how. And I want to share something, if I may, about our conversation this morning, Cortney.
Yes.
I was completely open to you because I work in energy. And I was overwhelmed by, even though my mind and heart were completely open. I had already had some conversations happening in my head and in my heart before you and I ever connected, that I shared with you. And even if, though I came in with an open mind and heart, I still was completely blown away by the connection and accuracy with which you were able to channel. Really threw me. And I said to Cortney on the way out, dear listeners, I said to her, I'm grateful that you held space so that these ancestors and friends of mine could find their way to me, because that's really what you're doing. You're holding space and you're saying, I'll be the portal, I'll be the channel. I'm open, utilize my efforts and my gift to get to your loved ones. And I mean, what you're doing, listen, is not only amazing, but it's healing, because you allowed me, I didn't have any gaping wounds, but it was just salve on a tender heart that was exactly what I needed. And you had said to me at the end of our conversation, oh, there's layers of this. There's layers of this work. Can you talk about that?
Well, and I want to show your painting. I have yours here. Mariel, I wish I had yours with me, but that's your painting from today. I texted it to you as soon as we were done, but
I have it.
Just the information around each little layer, just like the layers, and it's fully dry now, but just the layers of each energy and each emotion coming through carries so much, yes, depth and information. And what I love about this is somebody could look at that and think, what 3-year-old did that? But you understand the depth and simplicity of this sweet little something, right? It's an imprint of that moment. And this is how I feel about it. So I'm definitely not a drama queen psychic medium. The work and what I believe that my purpose is to, yes, do exactly what you said, is to create space for your loved ones to come through, for those messages to come through in all of the many multiple ways that information does come through the signs, the simple symbols, the variations of words, and just the energy felt and the different experiences shared in that moment. But what I think is cool to me is, as we are open to heal ourselves, that mind, body, spirit, our loved ones, our ancestors they've all got they're a witness and have a front row seat to our life. And as we move through this experience, I always say how it feels to me, because who the hell really knows until we're on the other side, right? But how it
Right.
feels to me is that they're able to grow emotionally and spiritually with you along the way. So the work that we're doing here, in these particular sessions, I believe really have a beautiful healing towards that epigenetics of the family. And so as we in a session is the person, you sitting in space with me, within that breath, and you validating, we're talking about time earlier, I heard you, right? When we're in that beautiful space and moment of time and you're breathing into that space, you're breathing the healing that is taking place in that moment to help heal the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah.
And so, this healing, you all know that once we think we're done, just get ready. We're about to go through it yet again. It doesn't matter where we are, if we're the healer or the one needing healing or whatever. But so that is a constant thing until we're on that spirit side. And so it is a beautiful evolution. Many of my clients have been with me for multiple years, 10, 12, 15 years now. I've been doing this work for almost 20 years. And what's really cool is the ones that really stay are the ones that are really showing up in their life and really progressing along the way. They don't really come back to me asking me the same darn question over and over. They're coming through because they're wanting healing. And very often, many of those people are doing, the work of being a healer themselves, or psychologists or therapists, and
Yeah.
people who really understand the importance of it.
How far back have you gone? Like for me today, when I don't mind sharing, when you and I were talking together and working together, my great grandmother came through. So
Mm.
I'm wondering, when you've worked with someone, obviously there's not going to be a limit. There could be someone in the lineage that says, hey, I want to come through. I read, if I can sidebar one fast second, I promise Mariel knows, I'll bring it back. I read this great story the other day about this woman whose her dad had an older brother that had died at the age of 15, and
Mm.
today we would know that he had autism, but he never went to school because he couldn't learn traditional way, and her dad was born in like 1929. And her dad would often tell the story, as would his father, about
Mm.
how Stephen died on the docks. He fell off, and everybody in the family loved him so much. Well, everyone in the family, from Stephen's siblings down to grandchildren and now great grandchildren, have named someone in the family Stephen or Stephanie or Stefan or Steffi. There's something. They put the name in, and this woman was saying, what an incredible legacy that Stephen, who died at the age of 15, left such an indelible print on his family that legacy is still moving through. And now it's a bond. Like everyone
Mm.
knows, oh, well, my middle name's Stephen. Oh, well, my nickname's Stevo, whatever. That's their bond as an incredibly growing family. So I know there's that lineage, and I'm wondering, how far back have you experienced?
You know what? It's really even hard to even say. We have gone back in so many different sessions. What I love, my favorite part of the sessions is sometimes a client will sit in front of me and say, nope, I don't know what you're talking about. Nope. And I breathe, I take a breath, and I always say, okay, let's write it down. Let's circle it. We'll put a question mark on it, and it means we have no idea what it means. Dot, dot, dot. The dot, dot, dot means when it falls into place, you'll understand it. Don't try to make it make sense. Nothing. Some of those sessions are my favorite because they'll go home, they'll call grandma, they'll call great grandma or whomever, and they'll be like, that was yada, yada, yada. And they'll come back with a confirmation. And they had no clue either how somebody passed or somebody's name or this and that. And so to tell you an exact, as far as the layers of ancestry that we've gone back is, I would almost say, is almost impossible, I think, because we've gone pretty far back. And we can even go through connecting with your own guides and angels to a lifetime, to a past life that's currently affecting you today. It's not past life regression, but your guides can pinpoint and go back and direct me and point me towards a life that was lived that's currently like stopping you or blocking you in this current life, which is really, really cool.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Oh,
That's
that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, for me, that was amazing. And, because there were some certain question marks that I had about, because you said my grandfather called me kiddo. Now,
Yeah.
very funny about that is then Melissa calls me this morning and I was like, that just, like, because I never met him,
Yes.
he died before I was born and he was calling me kiddo. I was like, that just doesn't sound like my grandfather. But then Melissa today said, oh, that you had a connection with her, with one of her relatives in the past that called her kiddo. And then that we were connected,
Yep.
In many lifetimes. And I thought, oh, and I got chills, and I still not exactly sure, what that meant, but but then it resonated. Then I was like, oh, well, that's where that comes from.
Those are my favorite things, because you
Yeah.
don't want to make it make sense, because if we're trying to make it make sense, we mess it up every darn time. And so the beauty is if we just leave it there. And actually, Melissa, you're the one that referenced that it was your father or grandfather, somebody
It
called
was
you.
a family member who called me kid.
Yes. And so when you said that and it was the male energy, I was like, wait just a second. I was like, I believe it was your session, Mariel. Last week, I was like, I believe it was her session. And so you just came right out, and we were connecting in a very beautiful way. And it felt very reminiscent to the way, Mariel, that had come through in your session. So I told you, Melissa, I said,
Yeah.
There's something there that's really, really interesting, because you said it. I didn't say a word to you about that. And so when you said that out loud, the guides and angels, what they do, and this is the thing, you should be like, am I making this up? And you should be like that until you confirm how you receive information, or that's how I feel anyway. I think it's beautiful to be a skeptic. So when your session today, Melissa, when you said that, the guides, they kind of did like a ding to me, and they almost pointed to that Rolodex file in my mind and pointed towards the information coming through in your session, Mariel. And so I thought, whoa, wait just a second. It hit me, because very often in a session, it's like in one ear and out the other. I don't really retain a lot of information, even the point of like the colors of the paintings. I mean, as soon as the session's done, the information was here and then it's gone. And so it's just very interesting. But that did happen today. It was very cool.
That is very cool. I have to tell the audience a very funny thing about our session. So I sat in the session, and I'm like, that was before Bobby came. And I'm watching this person, right? And she's talking and things are resonating, but periodically her fingers would come up. They were like, at first they were normal, and then they would have color to them. And I knew nothing about anybody painting.
No.
So I'm thinking, so at the end of the session, she goes, do you have any questions? And I said, well, am I crazy, or did your fingers change? It's a psychic thing.
Yes. You're
Anyway,
like, what is happening
Oh,
here?
God, you're so fluid about it. You're so fluid. So you don't see a hand moving.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. You don't even see this. You don't even see like an arm moving. You see
she's
nothing.
just like, yeah, she's just like this, but
Yeah.
periodically she uses her fingers, and it was like, they were green, then they were red.
That's right.
Fascinating.
Question, since you just said, you don't even sometimes remember the color of the paint, because Melissa and I's colors were very similar. Are they normally those colors that you use, or always different?
No, I would say they are different. I mean, I've got a variety of colors. And so, there could be reasons as to why yours blend, why they match in a way, for sure. What I will say is, if one gets red, red might be, if somebody is following the chakras and whatever. Listen, I'm a rebellious type. And so if somebody says red means this, I'm going to be like, I don't know about that. Let me feel it, what it feels to me. And so just because one gets the same color doesn't mean the energy is exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yes, that could be something very, especially for being different days, because I also, as far as different weeks. Now, if I was sitting there and had, a certain amount of colors or something, that would make sense. But no, there's definitely a match in energy there.
Well, and it also explained a lot, because you had mentioned to Melissa, which I just thought was wonderful, that Melissa and I have been connected. First of all, Melissa and I's friendship, we met each other at an event that she was hosting, and I was the keynote speaker. she got up, she made me laugh so hard that I said to her as I got up, as she had just introduced me, I said, I want to see you afterwards. She thought she was in trouble, which I thought was funny. But it was like our friendship just started the moment I was like speaking to her, we were friends. And
Mhm.
we were friends like I've never had a friendship like my friendship with Melissa. Never. And that was wonderful today to get that confirmation, because we're often kind of perplexed by how we can be, in our 60s and having this amazing friendship that didn't start when we were 6,
Started as grown women going into our 6th decade, and we had never had in that, our early 50s, and we had never had, both of us have had great friends and still have great friends, but this had this unique, uncanny spot. And as letting the audience know, I had shared with Cortney when she and I were talking that Mariel and I were on a podcast. I don't remember when, how far back, pre-hiatus, and we were talking about the fact Mariel had mentioned with one of our guests that she had comes from a family of 7 suicides. And then later on in the conversation, when we were doing our closing, I mentioned, I hope I'm getting the timing right here, I had said, something about that I had suffered through 7 miscarriages. And then I stopped and I said, Mariel, you had 7 suicides, I had 7 miscarriages. And we both kind of went, oh, wow. Like that was an interesting. So then today I brought that up with Cortney had said, there's 7 connections through 7 lifetimes. And I was like, this number 7. So it's fascinating.
It is
really, well, think about it too. You said something earlier, and it was right before I even came on, and you said in reference, listen to this, ladies, if you have not already made the connection. But in terms of that wellness center, you said 7 doctors.
Oh,
7 doctors. Oh my God, that just hit me. 7 doctors. The place is a 7.
I'm taking 7 shots when we get off the podcast.
I'm gonna laugh 7 times.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do it. So you said that, and I thought, oh, it's interesting. So think of the pain. Let's take a breath in. Big exhale out, right? We're right here, right now. Think of the pain that those suicides put into effect of that family, call it the family tree, right? That ancestry line of connection. And same in your experience, Melissa, with the 7 miscarriages, here we are. And then look at what you're putting into the world through these wellness centers, these 7 doctors. I mean, wow.
Holy
I'm teary.
it's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah. To know the light, we must fully understand the dark. You understand? So I will say this, that my work, I've had a lot of people, again, when the puffy thing was going on, when this thing was going, Cortney, you need to talk about that. I have a podcast, and they were like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I'm like, that's not what I do. It's not what I want to do. What I want to do is help people connect to the truth and to the light and to the highest frequency of energy to help heal. That kind of stuff. I mean, I get it. We can all be nosy and interested, sure. But the work that I want to do is help people understand that the things that happen, the grief, the pain, the hurt, we could all list our many layers. But it doesn't have to take us down. We can really heal through it to find that higher frequency of the energy we're going to be putting into this breath of existence, to this life of ours, and into our littles. I heard you guys, or you, Mariel, talking about your granddaughter earlier. I mean, how beautiful the lineage of when we choose to heal, when we choose to say and take accountability of our energy, and understanding that we too don't have to repeat the energetic cycles. That's what my clients are ready for, is they're ready to connect, heal, and grow in the most beautiful possible ways.
That's so amazing. You're amazing.
Well,
just have to say it.
I'm a mirror image of you, my friend, and you, my friend, Melissa. That's it, right?
That's incredible. I just so encourage everyone here to go to your site. It's CourtneyKaneSides.com.
Yes, yes. So I'll explain that. So, and
Yeah,
Courtney without a U, Courtney, Cortney, Kanesides. So many years in the beginning of my work, my website was CourtneyKane.com back in the day. And it was because I was terrified. I wasn't out of the closet yet for a very, very long time. And for I don't know, probably about 6 years of my work, it was under Courtney Kane, and that's what I went by. And then I remember it was 2011, I had a book published and with my old business partner, and I remember feeling like, okay, I've just got to do it. Now's the time. And I told everybody that meant anything to me and said, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing and all of this, and came out of the closet, which is terrifying. I see so many clients that are so scared about owning their gifts and their abilities. And so that's why you will see now that I go by not just my Cortney Kane, my first and middle name, but the full name, Cortney Kane Sides. Mhm.
that's awesome.
I like
I love that. And I have to say that yeah, I love you.
I love you. I love you. And we got off the phone. I texted Olivia, who is all of our dear conjoined friend.
Yeah.
I messaged and I was like, oh my goodness, I love Mariel. And I said the same today, Melissa. I messaged her and said, I love Melissa. And she said the same of you all. So yes,
Yeah.
it's
It's just
interesting
so
when
good. It's so good what you're doing, and you're helping people, and also you're helping people to do, because you know what your work is we're moving into a time that will be without boundaries, without limits,
oh
without, I
yeah.
mean, it's like our healing chamber. It is, we don't even understand what it can do. And we need to be open to new ways of healing, of connecting, of doing all kinds of things, because the world is a different place. We're soon going to be able to kinetically, telepathically, we're just going to be able to. I just know it in my heart of hearts. I mean, it's a little scary to me, but I know it. I know it. It's like we've done it before, but we're just scared to, like you, come out of the closet and say, oh, I think I can do this. I know,
I
Melissa.
want to say something. I want to say that yes, all that beautiful stuff is happening and it's going to be coming in 10 and threefold, 10 and 20-fold. However, connecting with Courtney, my experiences with you. So connecting with
Yes,
Courtney is so vital because in
yes.
addition to that, we're also having AI and the unknown, which can be used in the wrong hands and wrong frequencies. So if you're in question, you're standing alone. You need to have an anchor you trust, which is why Courtney is so vital. Because
Yes.
having that anchor until you understand that, and you've got this knocking at your door. And for those who can't see me, I'm pointing to the left and shoveling to the right. If you don't know what's happening, then you're lost and you can get taken advantage of very quickly. So you've got to have an anchor in the knowledge of how this all works with Courtney.
I
well,
think that's why in the beginning I said, thank you for being, quote unquote normal, because people need to know that they're safe. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because I do a lot of work for mental health and for mental health. And I say you have to, first of all, you have to tell your story to someone, somewhere, somehow. And that person must be a safe person, a person that you can trust. And that's what you are. You're a trustworthy person that people can feel safe doing this kind of work with. So yeah.
that means the world to me. I'm such a firm believer in that we should be really particular on who we are going to. I work or have worked and continue to work very hard. I want to be a beautiful mother. I want to be a great friend. I want to heal my own BS. We all have it. I want to make sure that we're making the better choice. That's my motto, is just always trying to make the better choice. And somehow, oh my goodness, I get to live the life that I was not afraid to live, right? To heal through. And I I appreciate that, because I think that for me too, I want somebody who I see living a really grounded life in all areas. Not, oh my goodness, I love your puppy, or your baby there. But that's an important thing for me. And so I appreciate you all pointing that out and saying that as well. Another thing too, when you're talking about the world becoming really energetically connected and even to a point where it's telepathic, for me, that's really coming back to that innocence of childhood. Because like I said, when I could meet somebody, it wasn't as if there are ethics and energetic boundaries. You would never know that I do this work if we're in a room together at the grocery store. I'm in my own bubble of connection and healing. And so, there is an element of ethics there, but when we meet people, we can feel them. And very often they're really mirrors of ourselves. So I will say this too, in the session, thank you for expressing, my work in the way that you see it. But I feel like those sessions are very much a moment for you to see your energy clearly. And so I think that those sessions, and even through those paintings, the verbiage and words that come through are a way for you to see your energy, feel your energy, and understand if there's anything out of whack. How can we address this and go straight to the source, heal it, move forward? I also have a lot of, and we spoke a little bit about business as well in both of your sessions, actually. And I have a lot of people that come to me that are for personal reasons, relationships, but also in business. And that's one of my favorite things too, that I've got people who are doing things, they're going places, they are ambitious, and they want to do something really beautiful here in the world.
I love that.
That's amazing. Good to know. Good to know. We're working with business. We like this.
Yeah.
We need your
100%.
help. Well, Courtney, thank you so much. We have kind of come to the end of our interview section, and you're amazing. You have to come back, and we love you. So again, please, everyone that is listening or watching or whatever, go to Cortney Kane Sides.com, and that's Courtney with just Cortney Kane Kane Sides SIDES.com.
You did it.
That was rough.
It was right, and you did it. Thank you, ladies. I love you all so much. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mariel.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Hello, hello. This is Stacy Shepard of the Good Shepherds Foundation. My incredible team and I are dedicated to training therapy dogs to provide comfort and mental health support for those in need. Please follow and consider donating as we continue this impactful and important work. You can find us at www.tgs.foundation. You are listening to Out Comes the Sun with Mariel Hemingway and Melissa Yamaguchi.
That was amazing.
Well, I mean, it's the ability to tap into your own gift. She recognized it as a child. She, pushed it away because she wasn't sure at some point, brought it back out. I think that rings true for so many of us. And I think that we're constantly being pushed to be somebody we're not. You've got to get the 9-to-5 job. You've got to have a house with a white picket fence and 2.1 dogs and 3.1 children, whatever, and be married to the same guy since high school, whatever it is. There's all these pressures, societal pressures that don't make sense. And by the way, by 2034, the prediction is there'll be no 9-to-5 jobs because the AI will take care of all those jobs. So now what does that say about our formula that we have for living?
And what does that say about our future? It does mean we have to do, that's what I meant. It's like,
yes,
life's going to be different.
Life is going to be wildly
different. And for our generation, we're going to have to adjust to a new system, probably of money, of this, of that, transportation, all of it.
Everything.
And keeping yourself flexible to all of this new way of being is is really where I see the importance of that work.
Oh yeah. Mariel, I watched an interview with 104-year-old woman, and they were talking about, they said, how far back do you remember? She remembered the Wright brothers.
Oh wow.
And how crazy those guys were.
Yeah.
Oh, you can fly. Yeah. Well, right. And then to come full force forward where she's like, oh yeah, I got on a plane. And it's just thinking about this lifespan. So in our lifespan, thinking that we will be forced to be adaptable is right on course. If we expect to live, adaptability is the survival of the fittest.
Well, and that is exactly what Bobby has created with the chamber. That's why it's called Stratosphere ATC. A is altitude, but it also means adaptive training conditioning. It's altitude training conditioning, but also adaptive. So we have to adapt.
Yep.
And that's how we grow. That's how we have longevity, but
Yep.
that's how we mentally grow. We
Yep.
have to adapt. We have to learn new skills. It's like we talk about that all the time with,
All the time.
you know, senior citizens. Like you've got to learn new stuff. You've got to be more, you know, open to things. I mean, I'm impressed with your father who's really pretty adept at like doing some very highly technical things, you know, in this day and age where, you know, and being almost 90. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, my mom sends texts and emojis and memes. And I think, I said, how'd you learn how to do that? And she said, well, I'm not an idiot. So, I mean, yeah, I think that you have this desire, regardless of your age, of, I want to keep going. I don't want to be left behind. I want to know what's new and exciting instead of, oh, this is scary. It can be scary, but pick up, keep moving forward.
Pick it up.
Man.
Yeah, we got to. Well, this is what an amazing show. I'm glad we took a little time off, but I'm so glad we're back because I think it's important to talk to people that we admire and have fun talking to ourselves.
Absolutely.
And
we
work
want to
with
expose our
Slater.
friends too.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Well, thank you everyone. Again, Cortney Kane Sides.com. If you want to look at what she's doing, I think you can get private sessions with her, become a VIP member, whatever it is that you may be thinking of, or just want to check out her site or her podcast. That's great. And again, remember that you are listening to Outcomes of Sun because we are trying to create a resource navigator with the Mariel Hemingway Foundation.org, which is really eventually will be a resource navigator guiding you towards the mental health help that you desire, whether it's holistic or pharmaceutical or psychiatric or whatever, therapies or recovery, you know, addiction, whatever it is. We just want to be able to guide you there. So that's what you're doing when you help us. So we're so grateful to have you here as always. And thank you, Melissa. It's so fun to be back.
A seven lifetime friend.
Yes, exactly. 777. Oh, I knew it was a good number. I'll see you later. See you, everyone.